It's time to call to order the Guthrie Public Schools Board of Education meeting. Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Pearson.
Here.
Salee. Here. Smedley.
Here.
Watts.
Here.
Pennington.
Here. We've established a quorum. Will you stand with me in the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States? Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Student recognition.
This time I'd ask Mr. Gamble to approach the board for the student recognition this month, and I think he has some introductions for us.
We'd like to have Dr. Lacey Boyle, our president of the Kiwanis Club, and H.C. Patel, the chairman of the committee for sophomore of the year. We're going to do a presentation.
Our sophomore of the year this year is Katie Dromberger. Want to come forward? And actually, we had quite a few applications. We had a handful, and we went through these applications, and we selected Katie to be our representative to go for our district here, which she put her name in there and through. And this is a recognition plaque. And you want to give her a check, and this is a check from Mark Kiwanis for $250.
There you go. Very good.
And this is a sophomore of the year scholarship, and every year we have scholarships for the senior going out as well. This year we have three scholarships of $1,000 each. So if you know any seniors who are going forward to college and they need some additional capital, come to apply.
And this was our first year for the sophomore of the year program, so thank you so much.
Very good.
Dr. Simpson,
Thank you.
yes, thank you for inviting us.
I personally want to thank the Kiwanis Club for all that they do for the students of Guthrie. They are instrumental in our annual auction that provides invaluable things for students in our community, and it's through a tremendous amount of hard work by a small group of very dedicated citizens of this community that they accomplish that every year. And thank you very much for honoring a sophomore, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Agenda item 6, presentation by Mr. Brian Billings, Sonic Corporation. Brian?
Every year, Mr. Billings and I meet about this time of year, and we hold a drawing. And Mr. Billings has been very gracious through the years in his support of Guthrie Public Schools. He's very generous with his successful business on the right off of I-35 in Guthrie, and he pays it forward with our students. And so, Brian, I'm going to let you have the floor and let you make a presentation.
About 3 years ago, I thought it'd be great. We always did $1,000 donations to every school. 3 years ago, we decided how good would it be if we did all the money to one school and we'll make it around to all the schools in Guthrie. So we've already hit Fogarty and Cotterell. Central is our next one. We did get Central, right? Okay, just making sure it's on the check. And $7,000. I know Cotterell did the iPads last year, and it was cool. I got to go in and see. My daughter was in there, and she was messing around with it. And it's just, I mean, the electronic age is, we're halfway through it. So I mean, it's so important. And the big checks are the ones that they can get the most difference out of, even though it's just a small piece of what the school district needs. I think hopefully it helps just a little bit. So.
Ms. Watson, do you want? Are you interested in this check? Okay. Brian, thank you so much for
Yes,
your
thank
service.
you, thank you so much.
We'll see you next year.
Good.
Agenda item 7, presentation of certified and support employee of the month.
This time I'd like Mr. Ogle to come forward and make the presentations for the monthly support and certified employee of the month.
We're hit pretty hard with the flu. This is the first time we haven't had all our representatives and nominees here. But the Certified Employee of the Month was presented by Carmen Brown. She's a kindergarten teacher at Cotterell, and she was not able to make it. But the Certified Employee of the Month was Rusty Crockett, physical education teacher at Cotterell. And I'm going to go ahead and read what she wrote about Mr. Crockett. Mr. Crockett does morning bus duty. He is always here with a smile, making sure our little ones are getting in the building safely and dealing with parents all morning long. Some parents are confused, some upset, and some very pleasant. He deals with them all. Same for the kids who ride the bus. Mr. C is friendly face they see every morning. And so they wasn't able to be here, but we went ahead and presented their plaque and stuff with them. Of course, we know Mr. Crockett's dealing with some family circumstances still, and so we understand that. But our support employee of the month, Ms. Walters, is a special education teacher at Guess, and she was diagnosed with the flu today, and so Mr. Ball is going to go ahead and present for her.
Janet Ludlow. This is coming from Ms. Walters. I am privileged to have two assistants in my classroom. Janet is one of these individuals. Janet joined our lives of our students. The greatest attribute that she possesses is that she recognizes that our students require that every day is a new day and the slate must be wiped clean. The challenges that our students face each day will oftentimes cause them to have difficult moments, and we have to teach them to start their day over again and again. It is all too easy for someone to see the student's behavior as intentional and to respond with a 3 strikes, you're out mentality. However, Janet teaches our students on a daily basis what appropriate behavior is expected in each of them, and that we hold them accountable to display such. Holding our students accountable does not mean that we are able to rule with an iron hand. We have to install in them that they are always in a safe environment that promotes growth to one's fullest potential. Janet does such a terrific job with this process, and she encourages me as a teacher as well as to be the best I could possibly be. She is a true inspiration to our students and to our staff. Congratulations. You get the plaque, and you get to sign.
All right.
Good job. There you go. Proud of you.
Did you?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8, comments to the board. Citizens registered to speak to the board.
We have none.
Board members. Okay, I have one thing to say. This past week, I made some committee appointments without calling you guys first. This is the first time I was the president of the board. I did that. I did it when I was called into an office to make some presentations. I should have called everybody that affected. I apologize for not doing so, but that's what you get when you have a redneck as the Board of Education president. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're good.
Mr. Superintendent, do you have a superintendent's report?
I do, Mr. President. We have several items to go over tonight. First of all, on behalf of Guthrie Public Schools, I want to offer condolences to the Chapel family for the loss of Holly, a tremendous person in this community and father and grandfather of staff members and a former Board of Education member. Personally, I want you to know I feel cheated because I've talked to several of my predecessors that have served in the superintendent's chair in Guthrie through the years, and they talked of the warm support they received from Holly Chapel about the time that I was selected as superintendent was when Holly was diagnosed with ALS, but he was still very supportive, and we always had great communications. It was just usually through a text or an iPad, and later in the time that he was with us. But very supportive of this community and our students, and he will be missed by everyone. The next item on my report, GPS will be hosting a candidate forum for the City Council and mayoral election. The forum will be on March 23rd at the Guthrie High School cafeteria. The time is 6 o'clock. See, it was 6 or 6:30. I was supposed to fill in the time and got sidetracked. It is on the chamber calendar. It's kind of a long-standing tradition in elections that an education entity will assist in providing information to the community, and I wanted to step up on behalf of Guthrie Public Schools to accomplish that this year with the city elections. I want to thank Bank First and Laverne Dowding, as they have offered to sponsor a teacher to attend the National Creativity World Forum in Oklahoma City on March 31st. This conference will have approximately 1,500 attendees who come together to celebrate ideas across multiple disciplines. Attendees include entrepreneurs, educators, business leaders, students, community and cultural leaders, and technology experts. And we will be working with our curriculum directors to identify the lucky teacher that gets to attend. The Chamber Coffee was scheduled for March 4th, and as you know, we had a little episode where we were out of school on March 4th, so we're going to reschedule that for April 29th at Fogarty Elementary. We will also host a coffee the next week on May 6th at a site to be determined. All likelihood it will be at the junior high. And board members, as a board member, you are a member of the chamber for Guthrie Public Schools, and you're invited to attend as well, any of those. Congratulations to Alex Nelson for finishing state runner-up at the state wrestling tournament at 132 pounds. Also, congratulations to our girls basketball team for advancing the area tournament, and they finished with a record of 14-11. As I alluded to earlier, we have exhausted our built-in snow days, which were at the end of the calendar. So now the last day of school will be Friday, May 22nd. And board members, remember, we are on hours. We use the first days that we have built in for snow days, and then we go to hours until those hours are exhausted. And hopefully we won't get there. Special thanks along those lines, a special thanks to the City of Guthrie and the County Commissioners for their work during the inclement weather on the roads. But I especially want to thank our maintenance, custodial, and transportation staff for what they do to make our students safe every day, but especially during this most recent bout with challenging weather. The weathermen, as we all know, didn't exactly get it right in a couple of different directions on a couple of different days. And Mr. Ogle and I got to see the Winter Wonderland along with our transportation staff in the evening hours after dark as we were getting buses out, and really appreciate all that they did. We got every student home safely, and then we didn't go to school one day that probably we could have, but I do know this: every student got home safely, and so that was the most important thing from transportation. Thank you for that. I plan to bring to you in April a revision to the school calendar for the 2015-16 school year with regard to spring break. We have been in discussions with Stillwater Public Schools and Meridian Technology Center to align our spring breaks with the majority of the schools statewide. This is a goal we're working on to accomplish in cooperation with the other entities. This is going to happen. I had the phone conversations this morning. It's easier for all of us if the spring breaks in the state of Oklahoma are aligned. There is a tremendous amount of testing, but also when you have spring breaks that are misaligned, it makes it incredibly difficult for spring activities that students participate in outside of school. And so that's why I want to accomplish that. So I plan to bring that to you next month. Mr. Ogle will reconvene the calendar committee in some form or fashion to review that before it comes back to you. The legislative session is in full swing, and the state is trying to patch a $611 million hole in the revenue that accounts for the estimated effects of less gross production tax and a lowering of sales tax collections, as Oklahomans will have less money to spend. This figure also accounts for the lowered income tax because of the economic growth trigger in 2014 was met, and that stipulated the tax would be lowered. This in turn has school districts being told to brace for a potential cut to state aid for the 2015-16 school year that could be as high as 5%. Consequently, at this time, all bills that are aimed at a raise for teachers are considered dormant. On that note, I'll mention two of my takeaways from the National Superintendent Conference. All states believe we have too much testing. I got that out of the meetings. This is not all I got, but these were the highlights. Not all states are experiencing the teacher shortage we have in Oklahoma. Right now, they estimate 800 teaching jobs that are unfilled in this state. Fortunately, we are not in that position in Guthrie. But that speaks more, in my opinion, to the salaries than at any point in my career. And so we are at a crisis point with education, and hopefully we will develop a solution that will allow us to have a better education tomorrow than what we can even offer today. That's my report. Told you it would be a little longer tonight.
Okay, agenda item 10, Transportation Department update.
I want Steve Cordell to come on up and introduce his guest as I wanted to give the board an update on where we are with our transportation department. We've been through a tremendous amount of changes in the last 9, 10, 11, 12 months. We've had a lot of challenges along the way, and I think we've answered a lot of that, and I wanted Steve to kind of report to you where we are.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Excuse me. Thank you for the opportunity to bring this update, Dr. Simpson and the board. I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine, Dean Melito, with Transpar. He is a consultant. He just so happened ended up being his coming down here for me coincided with being at the board, so I thought it would be real nice to have him up here with me and share a few words as we go through this little update here. Dave, if you'd like to come on up, or you can stay there while you're okay. Just a little bit, where's the clicker? The white one? That's a projector. I'll do it like they used to do in my classroom. Yeah, it's short. Okay, just to give you a brief little update, we operate 34 buses. That includes our activity buses. We run 29 routes. 23 of them are our regular routes with 6 special needs. On our daily routes, we transport approximately 1,800 students. And of course, this is up and down. Some days, not as many kids ride, and some days more kids ride. About 2,400, including the shuttles. Our average route time is about an hour and 0.75. One of our goals, of course, is to shorten that. The more time on the bus, the more problems. Last year, we ran 260,000 plus miles for the year. Right now, it looks like my figures, we could be up a little bit. Of course, with growth, that's what occurs. Accomplishments this year. Guthrie was able to purchase new buses. We've added 12 buses, and they are working out great. They are, the drivers, of course, like them. The kids do. If you drop on down, improve morale. Just adding those buses alone helps in morale. They get to drive something newer. It deeply appreciated. We hired 12 drivers. I was not here at that time when that came about, but it's meant tremendous to this district to being able to put 12 drivers out there. And increasing the starting wage to $12.65, of course, that's helped. You know, that was a great draw. Now we are in competition with Edmond, with competition with Deer Creek, and we don't lose our drivers to go. I'm going to go make more money because they're not going to. Increase their minimum hours, paid hours to 6 hours. Receive benefits with this year. Insurance, sick days, personal days off. I got to attend the National Association of Pupil Transportation in Kansas City. It was a great conference. I was able to take 2 courses while I was there, just benefiting this district. So like I said, improved morale, and I feel our services improved. Of course, 12 new buses out there with drivers. It helped it a lot. If I can go the right way. See if I jump. That's right. Okay. The part of it, of course, was driver recruitment. And like I said, I wasn't here for this. John Tucker was here for this. But with the recruiting tactics, of course, were the increased wages and the benefits. We did it through driver testimonies, through banners, signages, the 3 places around the community, recruitment posters with pull tabs. And if you did not get to see those, these are really simple, but they're of great value. I was in several businesses after I got here, and these were still hanging up, and just a couple of them left. People would take them and call, and we were able to give them information. In some cases, of course, ended up hiring them. Had some recruiting tables and booths at different places, the district website, motivated employees to recruit. They were out there where they were talking about it. It was great. And of course, we want to give a special thanks to Pat Hughes for all of his efforts that that he put in and helped us be able to do this. We couldn't have done it without him, I'll tell you. Here is the recruitment pamphlet that went out. We'll go through it. Driver testimonies on there. These went around. Lots of information. Just an idea of how our fleet's breaking down now. We broken down in 3 different groups. The fleet type, where we have 4 activity buses, our route buses, of course the spares. We have 8 special needs buses. Of course, we only run 6 at a time, and then we have 10 buses in surplus for a grand total of 52. I'm not going to go through the mileage there, but you can see how the mileage lays out. The surplus buses average 130,000. So we're going to be talking with Dr. Simpson and Dennis about what we need to do with those, whether we want to keep them around as spare parts, whether we want to get rid of them, and how that would benefit the district there. Then the last column, the age of our vehicles. The route buses themselves, that came up tremendously by putting in the 12 new ones. We gained, I think, 7 years on that. Fleet size breakdown, here we have 16 passengers up to 71, and the mileage there. Okay. Dean, you got, thank you. We're looking forward.
Dr. Simpson, ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Dean Melito, and I am the Director of Staff Development for our company. I enjoyed today. I was in it with the drivers and with Steve. Also, tomorrow I'll be teaching a student management workshop with all the drivers. Looking forward to that. I really do enjoy meeting with drivers, and because I have The credentials that they have, I've been doing that for a long time. So I talk to them not only from the management side, but also from the bus driver's seat. So we're looking forward to that. And I think that's at 1:30 tomorrow, Steve? So anyway, that's what I'm in town for. Some things that we, as a company, are looking to provide for Guthrie. There's going to be a principal survey in the spring of 2015, which is only about a month away. This survey is basically, it's for the stakeholders, and we like to talk to, we would like to get this principal's feedback, because again, we know that service, the service, if there are areas of improvement, we want to identify them, target them, quantify it, and then also put together any kind of improvements that we need to do. Student management training, as I said, we'll start one of those workshops tomorrow morning. Fleet replacement planning, I know in our company there's been some work on that as well. Right sizing the fleet, and what we mean by that, this is mainly a study. It's not something that, again, I want you to understand that with TransFinder or with Transpar, we make recommendations. It's not that we come in and say, this is what you know, we're not the be all end all. You make the decisions, and we'll work that through Steve, so that again, if we look at right sizing the fleet, we'll give you the pros, the cons of how large the fleet needs to be, how many spare buses you should have, and again, all that factors. There's a lot of factors that go with that. Again, extra activities. The size of the district. I know today I learned that there's a lot of dirt roads. I talked to the mechanics today. So all that's going to play a part with the with right sizing the fleet.
Those are called gravel, by the way.
Oh, all right. We're going to send Steve to TransFinder, a TransFinder conference. That conference is, TransFinder is the routing software that we use, and I know the district has been involved with TransFinder for quite a while. I haven't met Jane yet, but Steve speaks very highly of Jane. I met Susan today. Does just a good attitude over there in transportation, and but we want to make sure that Steve is going to get to the point where he can run reports and look at the data to make some database decisions. And you'll receive an annual report. It's what we call our progress in motion report. That usually comes out at the end of the year, probably around June. That, again, just gives you a summary of how the year went in transportation. Then also we look at, we're going to determine the cost of the program at the close of the 2014-15 school year. Again, there's a lot of input that goes to that, or goes with that, so we'll be putting that out. And finally, and Steve and I had a conversation about this, developing transportation guidelines. These are guidelines for special ed, regular ed, eligibility, all those things. But again, folks, I want to stress this. These are recommendations to the district. Okay? So that's what I have. And Steve, I think we'll open it up for any kind of closing remarks or questions.
Well, TransFinder, is that a program we pay for in addition to our contract?
TransFinder was already in place when we came in.
The licensing, they took over as part of the agreement.
Right.
We don't pay, we don't pay for TransFinder now, we use it through their license.
So Steve's going to a conference. Do we know how to use it now? He
Yes,
said,
this is to verse me more deeply into it. Transpar is paying for that.
so I guess the question I have is if we have a routing software program, how competent are we with that program and utilizing it?
Jane is very competent.
Okay, Jane's the one.
Jane's good.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
Bring me more up to speed, especially like you're saying, get her into it and to get reports out, not so much as to do the routing itself, though I will be more capable and able to do more of that also, but get information back to the board and to Dr. Simpson and basically whoever needs it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of functions in TransFinder. Personally, I know I've used it in several districts, and again, as Steve said, more for the supervisor, the manager is the reporting functions, but there are boundary studies that can be done through TransFinder. There are, if you look at shifting bus routes, where would be the best way to do that? Belt time changes can be done through TransFinder. So there's a lot of tools, and what we like to see, again, as Steve develops that that would come back to the district with some knowledge of how to do those tools, or how to work those tools.
I have a couple of questions. What's the longest route that you have right now?
It's a little over 2 hours long.
What's the youngest child you have on that 2-hour bus?
Would be, I think there is a pre-K student on there.
So that's 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening you have a pre-K on.
And that, I'm not sure how long that particular student rides. If he's picked up, that student is picked up at the first of the route of the shuttles and then is dropped off at the very last student, he would be on there or she would be on there that long, but I don't believe that that's the case.
Have you guys increased or decreased the number of routes since you took over?
Actually, the routes, when I came in, had stayed the same. We have done some adjustments. We have done some absorbing of some areas and some shifting. Right now, what has occurred within the district is the southern part, as all of you know, is exploding. And we have 2 buses down there that some days they don't have enough seats to bring the kids in. We're rimming full down there. So what we have done right now is absorbed an area that had, I think on a big day, was transporting only 10 children. And assign those to other buses, pull some routes up into that area to absorb that. And we're going to take that bus and help alleviate some overcrowding on the buses down in there, down in the south central.
And that was, you took from the north part of the
That was
district.
taken from the north to northwest section to go down south.
So what are you doing and what are your goals to do to reduce the hours that a kindergarten age student spends on the bus? Is there any plans to try to reduce that?
One of the things that we're looking at, we're talking with Dr. Simpson about, would be a 2-tier system where we run bells at different times for the elementary and the secondary. That would allow us to go get kids and bring them back in quicker and not have to be there. Maybe running 2 buses in the same area, unlike now, where we run 1 bus through an area and pick up everybody that's in there and bring them back in. For a district this size, at this point in time, that's the most efficient method that we have because of fuel cost and like that. But if you can do it with a tier system, sometimes the secondary bus then goes out, spreads out more, goes a bigger area, brings their kid in, their students in, and then you have the elementary bus go out, goes through the same area, but gets them to the elementary sites quicker instead of then.
I guess what I'm
Dropping
asking.
them at each school
Right.
and
They're
cycling them
going to
through
the high
town.
schools and the junior highs, so they're just going through the elementary, so our shuttles then time is drastically cut down.
So we increase the pay for our drivers, we increase the hours for our drivers, and we have enough drivers.
Yes. And that is one benefit of this. We have lost 1 driver through the year. Normally, a district will lose.
That's
3, 4,
amazing.
5.
Thank you.
We've lost 1 driver, and we actually had already hired another person before that driver left, and she only left because she needed 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and she just needed more money. And we were able to bring someone in that actually had driven for the district prior. They liked the hours, they liked the benefits, the pay. So they came back and stepped right in. There has not been any glitch at all on that route.
So we haven't cut any routes out yet.
No.
We haven't really, have we shortened any times that those kids have spent on the buses yet?
Well, I won't say that we've shortened necessarily times that they've been on the buses, but I will say that by increasing the fleet like we have, that we have gotten them home earlier because we are not having to go up, deliver students, come back and get another load and go back out and deliver them.
And we did that primarily by increasing the number of drivers, right?
Right, by increasing it back up to what would be considered necessary for a district this size.
Do you think by hiring Transpar, you saved the district or Guthrie Schools money this year?
I believe we have.
You don't have any estimates or figures about that?
Those figures will be coming, yes.
That's what the cost model that we provide later on. Again, we need to have a year of data before we deliver something like that.
About those bell times yet, do you think it's,
I was going to mention that. One of the things that I've asked them to do is a study of what it might look like if we staggered our bell schedule again, to alleviate some of the traffic around the schools and try to fix our issues. But and the board has heard me say this before, there's no district like Guthrie when it comes to transportation.
Yeah, all the different grade centers. It's hard.
Truly a unique animal. And so we had a conference call was it last week or early this week?
Early this week.
Or last week, it's from Monday. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens on snow days.
Yeah.
But we had a conference call where we discussed the parameters by which I wanted them to run the model. And they're working on that, and we will bring that to the board. Obviously, if we think it is something that we want to recommend, we will bring that to the board and have that discussion, because I want to do anything we can to lower our times that kids are on a bus, alleviate the traffic jams that we create in town, and cut our operating expenses. I don't know that we'll be able to get all three of those done at the same time, and so it may be a choice, a conscious choice that we have to make as a district.
well, I'm sure it's not a good learning environment to have a little one on the bus 2 hours in the morning and 2 in the evening.
It is not.
I mean, unless they bring their sleeping bag. I'd like to fix that somehow.
Right. And in that light, you always have more discipline problems the longer you're on the bus. So cutting ride time cuts discipline issues. So,
Okay.
and that is a goal of mine.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 11, consent agenda. Do you have any items that need to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, I need to pull item A. Or letter A.
So the consent agenda minus A, excluding A.
I move we approve the consent agenda excluding item A.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, item 11A, minutes of the regular meeting held on February the 9th.
I move we approve agenda item A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Sustain.
Pearson,
Abstain.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Smedley,
Something like
Yes.
that.
Watts,
Yes. I was
Pennington.
close.
Yes.
6 ayes, 1 abstention.
Item 12, business agenda, preparation, presentation of the 2013-14 audit by Putnam City Company LLC. It's on pages 28 through 73.
Mr. Schultz?
Putnam County and Company's people go in a lot of directions this time of the year. I think normally Jerry Putnam has presented our audit, but he is in Newkirk, Oklahoma, presenting their audit. Amy Zimba did most of the work on our audit anyway, so she's been asked to come and present our audit to us this evening, so I'll turn it over to Amy.
Hi, the audit this year is in the same format as last year. The only change we made, and it was for our benefit only, was the way we showed the federal schedule. we grouped all the clusters together because I got federal reporting I have to do after I get the audit approved by you all but to send in. But other than that, that's the only change. And like I said, that was for our benefit to make it a little easier on us. But your audit, in the opinion, the financial statements were presented fairly with the basis of accounting, and you all use the regulatory basis, which is what the State Department of Ed says that you have to use. You have 3 summaries up front, and further back behind the notes, you'll find the detail of how I got the summaries. So if you need more detail, those are just farther back in the audit. And you have the 3 reports in there because you all did spend more than $500,000 in federal expenditures. So that's why you have the major programs letter. You also have to have the findings and question costs. And if you look at the summary sheet that we gave you and you see those balances, just remember those are June 30, and I'm sure Dennis has given you a lot better numbers than where you're at now than what these show. Like I said, these were as of June 30. Your general fund had $2,745,000. It was down almost $360,000. I'm seeing that at most of my common schools. General funds are all down this year. Your building fund was $675,000. That was down $36,000. Your child nutrition had $151,000. That was down $51,000. School age care was $78,000. That one was actually up $23,000. Your sinking fund was $81,000. It was up $16,000 because you're still collecting just back taxes since you all have no debt. Gifts and endowment was $21,000, up $1,100. Insurance was $63,000. That was up $1,200. And your activity fund had $355,000. That was up $54,000. On your federal financial, you had $668,000 that came in July of 13, which was for fiscal year 12-13. And then when we finished the audit this year, we saw that you had $572,000 that came in basically in July, which would have been for fiscal year 14. And then if you want to know basically our nitpicks, that was the back page. Everything on there is stuff I find everywhere. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Invoice dates, it just happens. Sometimes you just can't get the purchase orders in time. Tax, math, I think they were minimal amounts. Signing, we saw there was a couple of purchase orders that for some reason they didn't get signed as approved. I mean, I can look in the minutes and yeah, I can reach and search for them and I know they're approved, but we just pointed it out. So if there was just a glitch in something, that just to be aware. And the activity fund, she wasn't signing hers, so we recommended that. But other than that, that's all we found. Dennis and all the girls do a really good job. Should I not tell him that? But I'm open to any questions since I know y'all got this last week, I believe, so. Or if you think of one later, Dennis has my cell number.
We should know that.
I think the important item here is that the things, there were no major findings, and it was all for all practical purposes a fairly clean audit. And I think the items that they identified are things that we're going to work on. And Dennis and I had already talked about that, and he's already got some things in place to take care of some of those items.
Like I said, those are my nitpicks. I change something every year to try to keep them on their toes. So
Yeah, gotta find something.
that's right.
That's what we pay her to do.
That's right.
But you all do have an acknowledgement letter. If you can sign that, and I can either take it back with me tonight because I'm going to be scanning these and getting these all to the State Department in the next couple of days, and I have to have that before I can submit. Or if Dennis wants to email it to me, whichever way works best for you all. Okay.
There's no motion required on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Business agenda item B, recommendation, consideration, and action upon contract renewal with Municipal Accounting Systems Incorporated for providing software and support for financial accounting, personnel, child nutrition, student information programs, including student grade books.
Okay, Mr. Schultz can answer any questions we might have on this. I will mention to the board members that this purchase is off of state contract, and Mr. Benson and Mr. Schultz work on this. This is an annual renewal of the contract. Are there any questions?
I move we approve the contract renewal with Municipal Accounting Systems, Inc. for providing software and support for financial accounting, personnel, child nutrition, student information programs, including student grade books.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
12C, recommendation, consideration, action to approve E-rate technology plan for 2015 to 2018.
This is an annual item on our agenda, and Mr. Benson is here to answer any questions if he can step away from Angry Birds or whatever he's playing on his iPad back there. Oh, it's Miss Smedley's iPad, I believe.
I had a question. Reading through this, is this primarily for teachers and administrators with regards to use of the technology?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
I move we approve the E-rate technology plan for 2015 through 2018.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
12D, recommendation, consideration, and action to approve E-rate contracts for 2015 through 2016.
Again, Mr. Benson works very hard on this to save us as much money as possible, and his documentation is found in your packets on page 97 through 109 of your board packet for this month. If you have any questions, he's here to answer those for you. Dee, I know there was a concern that we might have to, that we might be in a position where we had to switch internet providers, and I see that didn't happen. You got
That did not happen.
all that worked out.
We've been really, really fortunate with Cox, and the expense of switching just isn't right.
Yeah.
I move we approve the E-rate contracts for 2015-16.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee, Smedley,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Recommendation, consideration, and action upon request for special education students to attend State Special Olympics Summer Games, May 13th through the 15th, 2015.
This is, the request is on page 110 of your board packet, and Ms. Woodruff is here to answer any questions you might have. This is an annual approval that we do for our special J's, and many of you have seen the send-off that they receive from the community. It's really a special event for our entire community. I recommend approval.
I move we approve the request for the special education students to attend the State Special Olympics Summer Games, May 13th through 15th, 2015.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Item F, recommendation, consideration, action upon K through 8 remedial summer school program.
This is an annual renewal as well of our summer program for elementary students. The page 111 of the packet identifies how the students, explains how the students are identified for inclusion into this, and Ms. Walters is here to answer any questions you might have.
I move we approve the K through 8 remedial summer school program.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right. G, consideration and possible action on resolution authorizing the calling, holding of a special election May the 12th, 2015 for the purpose of submitting to the registered qualified voters of the Guthrie School District the question of issuance of bonds for repairing, renovating, or making improvements to Central Elementary School, Fogarty Elementary School, Guthrie Upper Elementary School, and Guthrie High School, including but not limited to roof replacement, replacement of HVAC unit ventilators, window replacement, tuck and point exterior repair, acquiring classroom technology equipment, including additional computer software license and service agreements at site district-wide, and constructing equipment, equipping and furnishing a new elementary school to be located just east of the intersection of Douglas and Charter Oak to accommodate increased student growth in the southern part of the school district, which will have a planned capacity of 500 students and will be approximately 50,000 square feet in size.
The proclamation is on pages 112 through 118 of your board packet. This is the product of a lot of work by the board members, our staff, our architect, and our bond counsel.
I have a question. I guess it's probably my memory lapse, but window replacement or the tuck and point repair?
Wasn't that the?
Well, that's junior
Junior
high, and I
high.
don't see the junior high listed in here at all.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I just now noticed that. I apologize for not calling sooner. But I read it and didn't see, but there's, when was it?
It is on more sites than just the junior.
But the junior high's not even listed in here.
We need to, yeah, this,
Isn't it supposed to be? Maybe I misunderstood something, but
I thought we added the junior high.
We did.
We certainly added that.
yeah.
Okay, we
I
can
mean,
modify
because
that.
we've got that,
Resolution to
Okay.
Central Fogarty.
I was focused on it.
I was too, and I apologize for not
Yeah.
seeing it earlier, but
Yeah, we were too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can just.
I
put it
move
in
we
after.
Make a
approve.
motion to approve G and if we add there with the addition of the Guthrie Junior High to be included.
Are you making the motion?
No, I was just recommending
Oh.
to do that with you.
I move that we approve the proposition as read with the inclusion of the Guthrie Junior High in the listing of the schools to be worked on.
Second.
Roll call, please.
You seconded it, didn't you?
Can we third it?
No. Yeah, if you want to. Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 13, proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of personnel, FMLA request, resignation, separation from employment, and transfer of position request. It's all set out in the personnel reports, discussion of all building level administrators' contracts as listed for 2016 and 17, and discussion of extra duty assignments for 2014, 2015, disclosure of which information would violate the confidentiality requirements for the state and/or federal law, all pursuant to 25 Oklahoma State Statutes 307B, 1 and 7. Vote to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Was that Janae?
Mm-hmm.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes, ma'am.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay. Board's returned from executive session. Only items in agenda 13 were discussed in executive session and no votes were taken. This shall constitute the executive session minutes. Agenda item 14, vote on action set out on the personnel reports.
I make a motion that we approve the personnel reports as listed on our iPads.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 15, recommendation, consideration, and action upon building level administrators' contracts as listed 2015 and 16.
Say
That-
14.
It was 14, 15.
That should,
That's 15, 16.
no, it is, it's right, that's
That's
15,
right.
16, my apologies.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
other-
16.
So sorry, Mr. President, I am so sorry.
That's my fault.
Agenda item 15, recommendation and consideration and action upon building level administrator contracts as listed for 2015 and 16 without specification for salary or assignment.
I move we approve the building level administrators' contracts as listed for 15, 16 without specification for salary or assignment.
Second.
I know, I'm just making way. Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee. Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes, ma'am.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Action upon recommendation for extra duty assignments is listed for 2014 and 15.
That's right.
I'm not saying a word.
I move we approve the extra duty assignments as listed for 2014-15.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes, ma'am.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Recommendation, consideration, and action to accept the resignation offered since the posting of the agenda.
We have none?
Item number 18, discussion and possible action on new business not known about or could not have been reasonably foreseen at the time of the agenda posting.
We have none?
Item number 19,
I move we adjourn, Mr. President.
Second.
roll call, please.
Bennett Johnson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Watts.
Yes.
Pennington.
Yes, ma'am.
7 ayes, 0 nays.